Hey, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I teach special education, kinder through sixth.
Okay, great. We're glad you're here. We may have a few more people join. We had about 6 sign up, and I sent a reminder. So we'll see if we have any more. But for now, we'll kind of show you all about Figjam. And I have my team on the line also, so they'll be participating. And let's go ahead and get started. So basically, Figjam, what is Figjam? It's a whiteboard essentially, and you can put all the things you want on the whiteboard for yourself and show it to your students, or you can actually share it with your students and then they can interact at the same time. Or if you want them to do the work on their own, they can do that as well. So today, basically, we'll show you how to create an account. It's going to be the same with most of our tools where you log in with Google and your Midland ISD email, and then you'll have your account. And the toolbar is kind of tricky, so hopefully after today you'll understand the toolbar a little more. And then there are some tips and tricks that I recommend when using Figjam. Oh, she also teaches math, so great. And then I'll show you how to share this and then how to spotlight what you are doing so that your students who are logged in with you can look at your screen. And in order to do that, we have to go live with Figjam. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's a very plain looking screen with a bunch of dots. So you have these tools at the very bottom. And what I want you to see is, let me see. What I want you to see is that these, this is a toolbar that I want you to get used to. And then over here, you also have some more tools, but I'm going to show you some shortcuts because these can be a little confusing. Okay, so I'm going to start by, the first thing is this little rectangle right here, or square. That's the one I like for your text boxes. So when you're going to have titles or anything, I highly recommend that you use a square. So I'm just going to click on this square, which you have a lot of other choices to use from or to choose from. And I'm just going to make something like this. And the first thing I do is change the color and the size or this font, and then I make it huge. All right. So FigJam, basically, I'm going to have you guys log in a minute just so you can check it out yourself. But there's a lot to do on here. And we're going to go through each of these little tools. If you want to write something just freehand, you can do that too. But I'm not the best at that. Okay. And if you want to erase something, you just click over it. You also have a highlighter. So if you have something pulled up and you want to just highlight, you can do that as well. And you have all these other colors to choose from. So you can choose these colors or you can use the color wheel. Or you can use a little dropper and match any color that you want. So that's if you're using the marker. What you'll mostly be using are like the sticky notes, the text boxes, the section. I don't use a table much, but I do like the stamps, and I'll show you why. And then your students can comment anywhere on your FigJam. And here are some just actions you can do. And this is the fun part. You have multiple things that you can add to your FigJam here. Okay, I just kind of go through those. The more is the one where I would recommend to go to if you're going to add a YouTube video to your FigJam. If you're going to add a picture, maybe you have a picture and you want your students to describe it. You can add timers. You can embed anything that you've made. For example, if you've made something in Canva, you can embed that presentation inside of your FigJam. And then here are some mind maps that you can do that just keep going. And right now I'm going to click Control Z is a little shortcut to undo. Okay, so this is the probably my favorite to use besides the square is going to be called section. Okay, this section right there. And what you do is you just hover and create a little section. And same thing, you can change the background. Let's do something. Okay. And when you have a section, you have some additional items here on this little toolbar. So you can lock it so that your students do not move the section, but this part is my favorite. So the section templates. When you make a section template, you'll get to do some icebreakers with your students. So maybe give them a random riddle. If you want them to take a picture, two truths and a lie, which is seems like a little confusing, but you could do that if you wanted to. You could have some brainstorm ideas. This is one of my favorite, the 5 whys. And so you can kind of just go through all of these and see what you want to add for your students to do. There's some team sync ideas. Okay, and then there's some more options here. So as I'm going, I am going to leave some random things here for you guys to do. And you can move this around also, so that makes it a good thing to do. Here, if you were to do a square, and if you were to add something to the square, inside of a square, your students can delete and move things, but inside of a section, they cannot. So that's why I highly recommend to do a section instead. All right, here I'm going to add in the little plus sign. I'm going to go ahead and go to more and show you how you can add. Maybe you have a worksheet that you want your students to do. So I'm going to go to media because I saved my worksheet as a picture. Okay. And it's just a word search. And maybe you want your students to do a little writing activity or something, so you can go back to the plus sign. Okay. And I'm going to add this image here. And if you notice, it's an endless whiteboard, so it just keeps growing and growing. And if you don't want your students to erase this, let's see. I think you can right click and lock it because sometimes there's not a little lock on the little toolbar. So always try to right click to see what you have available because those come up in different places. Okay, and now maybe you want your students to write a sticky note. I'm gonna actually grab a sticky note and to tell you, maybe describe this picture or something that they do in the fall. So I'm just going to put a sticky note. And if you want, your students can grab a sticky note and place it here as well. But if you just want to preload the sticky notes, you can do that. And anytime you see these little circles, it'll let you just duplicate. Okay. And let's see. Now you're thinking, well, this is already getting pretty big. What happens if I lose my work and everything I've been working on? If there's a little shortcut called Shift and 1. So hold down Shift and press 1. Yeah, it didn't work. Hold on. Maybe I have to click somewhere here. Yes. So if you press Shift 1 when you are in there, you have to have your cursor on and you have to click somewhere on the screen. That's probably why it wasn't working. Click somewhere in this blank space and then you're going to hold down Shift and press 1. And that is my first tip for you to see the entire screen and everything that you've put on here. Okay. Another trick I have for you is because sometimes we want to scroll to the right. Maybe we have a lot of work further on the right, but we want to grab it. So you change to this little hand and then you can start moving things. But if you don't go back to your cursor, then you cannot actually click and start typing or do anything. So if I were you, my suggestion is to hold down the space bar. And when you hold the space bar, do you see how the cursor and the hand are automatically switching for me? I don't have to go and click on the hand. I just have to hold my space bar down. And as I'm holding, I can drag. And then as soon as I let go of the space bar, it turns back into my cursor. So that is my second tip for you to do is to hold down the space bar so that you're able to grab and drag. Okay, who can tell me if you lose everything, what do you press so that you can see all of your work on one screen? How about Joshua? Joshua Boyles. I just lost all of the activities I have. What do I press to see it all?
Can you hear me there?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, maybe I'm just too used to Canva, but my first inclination is to just do Control Z.
In Figjam, Control Z undoes. I'm not sure what the correct term for that, but it's an undo button in Figjam. So if you put something on there, it'll just delete it and undo the work. So Sherry knows.
Shift 1.
Yes, and you make sure you click somewhere in the white space and then hold down Shift and 1, and now you have all of your work again. Okay, give Sherry a little heart. Anybody wants to give her a heart? Yeah, the little heart. That's so cute. Okay. Now some of the things that Josh may have been saying is a control plus, control minus, maybe some shortcuts to minimize or to zoom in. If you press control and 0, it'll put your screen at 100%. But your screen might not be at 100%. You might have it at 250%. So if I were to press control 0, that's what it looks like at 100% zoom. So I don't want it at 100% zoom, but if I want to zoom out, I can press control minus or control plus, or I can use the little plus and minus signs here to zoom in and out. But my favorite is to hold shift and 1. Make sure you click somewhere in the blank space so that you can see everything that you've added. Okay. The control Z does the undo. Okay. Because there isn't really a delete button. So if I were to click here, I don't see like a little trash can anywhere. But if you put something like maybe a sticky note and you don't have the trash can, you can click on it and just hit backspace. Or you can click on something and click the word delete on your keyboard, and that is how you delete. But my thing is always undo because it's faster for me just to click Control Z and it'll undo what I just added. But maybe you added something earlier that you need to delete. You just click on it and then hit backspace. Okay. Now, who remembers how I can drag my screen? I want to add some more items to the right. What would I do? Anybody?
Hold spacebar.
Yeah, so you're going to hold the spacebar, do not let go, and it turns into a hand. And now you can drag a little bit to the side. And then once you let go, it turns back into a cursor. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add another section because sections are the fun ones. And when you have a section, you have this little toolbar either pops up on the top or bottom, but they have a lot of different templates you can choose from. Okay, maybe I want to add, let's see. I'll just leave this activity here, crazy eights. Okay, and then I want to move and add something to the right. So I'm going to hold down my space bar. Okay, and in this empty space, I'm going to go ahead and go to the plus sign because here I have all of my templates, the different teacher templates that you could add. Here's some recommended ones. And I'm just going to add one just so you can see what it looks like. I might add, let's see, what's a little simple one, maybe this one. When you add a template, it gives your students some tips and tricks on how they can use a template. So it shows them how they can add stamps, how they can add stickers. Once they're used to that and they already know how, I would delete it because it kind of makes your board look a little messy. But I would leave this here for now until your students are used to using the Figjam. Okay, so this is another activity that you could leave, and you could edit these and change this to, I can add this to Josh, and I could do this to Tiffany. And if I misspelled your name, sorry, and Eva Marie. And then everyone else could fill in their name and once they're working on it. So that's another thing I can add is multiple different templates to choose from. Now I told you you can also add a YouTube video. So if I were to go to the plus sign, go to more, I'm going to add a link. Okay, and you can switch to YouTube. It'll take you to the site, but if you already have the YouTube link, then you can just copy the URL and then you can paste the URL there. Okay, and it'll add the video and you can just, oh, you can drag this and move it out of the way. And when your students get to the video, they're going to have this maximize button so they can watch it in full screen and then they can minimize it and keep working on the Figjam. I don't know if you can make it a little bit bigger here though. Maybe you guys will figure that out. Let's see. I don't know if it'll let you make it bigger here. I wish it did. Maybe you guys can drag it and figure it out. Another thing you can do is embed another, maybe you created a slideshow in Canva. I'm going to show you how you can embed that. You can take a URL from a live link in Canva, and if you want to know more about that, just email us and we can show you how to do that. But it's called this little code block embed. And I'm going to paste the link I have. And what it does is it takes another presentation I made and drops it here. Okay. And it'll load eventually, but it's a little artificial intelligence slideshow that I made that you can look at. Now I am going to share the live link so that you guys can go on there and start working on this. And you can go anywhere you want. So remember, hold down the space bar so you can drag around and start doing. If you want to use a highlighter for the word search and just maybe do one. If you want to take a picture, just press the little red button and then your picture will come out with your name already on there. You will have to create the account if you're new to Figjam. So what you would do is you're going to go to this just a web page, and Figjam is actually figma.com. But if you typed figjam.com, it will take you there as well. And I've already logged in, but if you're not logged in, you can just click log in, and then it'll use your Midland ISD email. And if you want to just watch, you can watch our team members play with it. That way you can kind of see what it looks like on the student side. Okay, so up on the top, you have a share button. Okay, and when you click share, right now it says anyone can view it. So if I share the link, no one can do anything but just look at it. Sometimes you want that. Okay, but I want everyone to go ahead and start working on it. So I'm going to change it to edit and save. And I'm going to copy this link and drop it in the chat. Okay, so if you click on the link, you might have to log in. But as soon as you create your account and log in, it's a good thing because if you send this link to your students and they have to log in with their Google, when they're working on anything, it'll show their name across the Figjam so you can see who's doing what. And let's see who logs in first. Up at the top, you can see what members have joined. So right here, you'll start seeing who has joined. And there's also a little timer that you can put, or a little music that you can put. And here as a teacher, as you see, I can click to follow whoever. So if Sherry were working and I'm like, what's Sherry doing? I can go up here and follow Sherry around so I can see where she's moving, what she's working on. And let's see, Sherry didn't want to take a picture, but I want her to take a picture so you can see how that looks. Do you see her name over here floating? She has to press a little red dot and allow her camera if it's not there yet.
It's just being slow.
I see Josh trying to take a picture too. Yeah, the little red dot is usually where you press. Oh, look at that. Yay. And you can grab your picture and move it around. And so how Sherry is moving the background of my template, as a teacher, I might have to go back and lock it. So I can press my little lock. Oh, okay. Okay, and I see Sherry's doing the crossword puzzle. And then maybe you're like, I don't know where everybody's at. I would just press, click somewhere here, press Shift 1. So now I can see who's moving around. So I see where Josh is, where Sherry is. And the presentation, I don't see that it loaded, but if you click on it and expand it, maybe our internet is going a little slow. Then you should be able to view the slideshow that I added here, but it looks like it's going a little slow. Okay, and now you're thinking, well, everybody is deleting all my stuff. I don't want them to delete anything. I need to rework this. You can go to your share, and what you're going to do is change it to who has access, that they're only allowed to view. So as soon as I click save, now they're not able to make the changes anymore. So they're kind of paused and they can't do anything else. But as soon as you change it back to edit, then they're able to start working again. And if you want to send this link in Google Classroom, you can. You just go to share and make sure that they can edit. And then you're just going to take the link and send it in Google Classroom. And once your kids log in, then they'll be able to work on this. One tip I have, if you want your individual students to have their own copy, maybe you have several things that you want each student to do, what you could do is take the URL. And when you paste it up at the top, I know you can't really see, so I'm going to actually put a text box. Well, actually, I'll do a rectangle. And if you put your the URL of the shared link and you go all the way to the question mark and you delete everything after the question mark and you write the word duplicate or duplicate, then you send this link to your students and everyone will have a forced copy. So that way nobody is working all on the same one, because sometimes maybe you just want everybody to work on their own so they can get used to it before they all interact together. So I would suggest to try a duplicate copy first, and so that way they're not all deleting each other's items. Once your students get used to this, they'll start locking their own items. So if they add a sticky note, they will be able to lock their own. And I'm gonna see if I can follow somebody here. So I'm gonna follow Isabel. So now I see Isabel. I see her dragging things. I see her looking at the directions. She's looking at the little toolbox. So it's kind of weird. Like I'm like seeing what Isabel's doing. But she's dragging. I wonder if she's using the space bar and the little hand. Okay, and now maybe I want to follow Sherry around. Okay, so Sherry's, oh, she's almost done with this crossword puzzle. She is fast. We got to give her a hard one to do next. And then you can follow. And now let's say I want all the kids' eyes on me, right? So I would do spotlight me. And now you guys should be able to see what I'm doing. I'm not sure if it works. Do you guys see my screen? Okay, I see who's going crazy on the screen. Another thing, let's say Sherry is not listening and she's the only one. I can go to this share button and I'm going to take Sherry, and instead of just changing her to view, I'm going to remove her. I am tired of Sherry. Sorry, Sherry, I'm going to remove her. She is not listening, and so she might have a paper copy. But It takes a while sometimes, but eventually it will remove her from having access. And then, but she's still there, so I don't know how quick that works. Let me see. Okay, I know why. This happened earlier. I removed somebody and they were still writing. So what you'll have to do is you will have to go to you can change it to view. This part's a little tricky because even though Sherry is on view, oh yes, everyone else can still edit. Okay, well Josh can edit, Isabel can edit. Uh, I had marked Alexandra as only viewing only. So that's
I,
one
in
way we
fact,
can do that.
cannot edit.
Yay. So it took a little trial and error first. I'm sorry, Sherry. She was doing a great job, but then she got off track. Um, but then you can remind her, and then you can add her back in. So then you can say, "Okay, Sherry, let's let's, let's do a good job like you were earlier." And if you want to add stickers to your students, maybe like a stamp, you can show a little stamp where they're doing a good job, or you can give them some stickers. Okay. And if you use stamps, like maybe you have a little poll question, your kids can move, their kids can use a stamp to vote. And that way you can see who voted. Because if they use a sticker doesn't show you who added the sticker. So unfortunately, stickers don't let you see who added the sticker, but stamps do. So now I can see Isabel added this little heart. But if somebody adds a sticker somewhere, I won't be able to see who added it because it won't show me. So I'm going to stop the spotlight on mine. Anybody have questions yet? Because I know I've added a lot of things to the Figjam. And I think finally the presentation loaded here. So your students can like click through the presentation here, or they can expand it. If you added a little video, they can watch it there. They can zoom in on this part as well. Okay, and then to go back to full screen, maybe you want to see everything again. Remember, click in the white space, shift 1, and then now you're able to see what everybody posted or what they've done. And then you can click anyone can view only. Let's see. Let's change everybody to view. Okay. And Miss Fuentes, I don't know if you were able to edit anything because I think I had you on can view only. All right, there is another shortcut is the letter E. So somewhere on your screen, if you just click in the white space and you type the letter E, then you will get this little wheel. And you're able to use it for stamps. Okay, and if you're like, I don't know how to go back, make sure you go back to your cursor because sometimes you are stuck on something. And I see, oh, that's so cute. Okay, the little timer, the the timer works and the song works, but the voting is part of a paid part. So even though you cannot use the voting part of Figjam, you could still create your own. So you could use, you know, what do you prefer? And then a shortcut to making a little rectangle instead of having to come down here is just the letter R. So the letter R lets you add rectangles of your own, just square is a rectangle. And then you might say pickles or, and then your students can vote with a little stamp or something, but you can still make your own poll questions if you want. If you want to change the title of your Figjam, just come up to the top and then you can just delete it and rename it. At this time, additional pages are extra, so you're not able to make a second page within this Figjam, but you can make multiple projects. Okay. And to go back to the home page, you would just click on the main menu, click on the little Figjam icon. And this is what the little timer looks like and the music. It's all the music. And then you can just stop those if you don't need them anymore. Okay, and right now I will pause for questions because I sometimes feel like I go over so much to show you all of the things. There's still a lot more. I didn't have anybody play with the comment box and leaving a comment, but you can do that now if you want to play with it. Does anybody have questions? Maybe Josh, is there anything that you saw that was you have a question about?
I have a question. So is there like a limit to a number of students that can be in it at once?
That's a great question. As far as I know, no, there's not a limit, but I will double check because that's a great question. Oh.
No, I don't know. It might just be my internet, but my only thing I was seeing was just stuff was taking a long time to move around and click on. But that's probably just my computer today or something.
Yes, Josh works on a Mac, so it's a little. That's why. Just kidding. It should work well on there. Yeah. Okay. How about Tiffany? I know you're driving, but do you have any questions about the Fig Jam? She says no. She is good. What about Miss Fuentes? Any other questions or things that you think you might want to use, but you're just a little curious if it has it?
No, not at this time. That was my only question, was if there was a limit to it.
Okay. And the little stickers, those you can zoom in and out, but for some reason the stamps I cannot. Um, I cannot make those zoom in and out, so maybe those do not. But that is all I have for you guys. And if you want to learn more about a Fig Jam or you forgot about it, just email itechhelp and maybe you have questions about it. And then I can come to your class and share it with you and your kids, or maybe your staff might want to know how to do this. This is great for PLCs too, so you can have something set up in Fig Jam and have your teachers log in and do all of the little things of brainstorming together. But for now, I will end the call. And unless you have questions, I'll stay on. But thank you guys for coming. We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you. It was really helpful.
Okay, bye, Tiffany.